High pressure is still just holding on to New Zealand, while low pressure and rainmakers are finally leaving Australia. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks very much for joining us. So the big high that's been with us for over a week now, the one that originally was 10,000 kilometres wide, is now moving out east of New Zealand and heading towards the Chatham Islands. It's a much smaller system than it was even just 4 or 5 days ago, let alone a week ago. But as it moves away to the east, there are a couple of big changes behind it. One is a subtropical northerly wind, which is going to pick up across the country, so temperatures are going to go up a little bit from where they've been this week. And the other big change is in Australia, where a southwesterly has moved through and pushed all that flooding rain out to sea, which means some of it is coming towards New Zealand, but most of it is heading towards the west coast, and even then most of it is going down towards Fiordland. So you see on Friday it's beginning to do that. This is all that's left over of the big rainmaker that was hitting Australia, much smaller now that the bulk of the low pressure has fallen into the Southern Ocean. The high on Friday, still pretty powerful, but it's out to the east of New Zealand, and so that milder northerly wind pushes into the South Island, and in the north it's a fairly mild nor'easter. There might be a couple of showers in the very north of New Zealand, but nothing too much. And look at this, dry skies for the most part around eastern Australia. Maybe just a couple of little showers in Sydney, but nothing to worry about. So let's get into the weekend now, and Saturday sees that rain pushing in towards the west coast, especially later on into the afternoon. Could be a couple of heavy falls around Fiordland and southwestland, and potentially overnight a little bit further north. In the North Island, you've got the same airflow, pretty mild. Eastern areas are going to be sunniest and warmest. Inland areas as well. But some in the north, especially up in the coastal areas, you'll feel that northeast breeze coming off the sea. Into Sunday, and now we start to see a few showers as that front moves into the northern part of New Zealand and the western side, but it's not that much. Take a look at your local rainfall figures at Weather Watch or over at ruralweather.co.nz to work it out. But really, the bulk of the rain continues to be over on the west coast, and I'm sorry for those in the east, but it is very dry still for you, and warm and a bit windy. Over in Australia, dry for many places. Look at that big high rolling in there towards Adelaide, but just a couple of showers still coming in around Melbourne and Hobart. So into next week, and Monday sees that same front very slowly moving through. So this will be good news. There'll be a few more showers around. The moisture levels go up a bit in the north. Facial eczema for those who are farmers, that'll be an issue for some of you up here as the wet weather combines with the mild weather we've got. There's no big dramatic cold change after that front. It's a very slow moving subtropical front, and then it clears away to just showers, and behind it you've actually got more of a northwesterly flow. But here is the cold southerly coming in around Tasmania, and we go into Tuesday of next week. You can see that turns into a low, that southerly. So the high that was out around Adelaide's moving more over to the southeastern and eastern sides of Australia. There is this cooler southerly moving up with showers, and that same system coming around into the South Island with a bit of rain there on the west coast and a couple of showers in the north. But to me, the map that's got the most interest is Wednesday. This map, not yet 100% locked in, but there is a chance we could get some wet weather here, and the subtropical element with this very weak low could help form some decent downpours in northern New Zealand, an area that needs it the most, and some of it might even get over into eastern areas. Now there is a little bit of caution, don't lock this in too much, because there's a big block, a huge block of high pressure all the way around it, So there is a chance this might not happen exactly as the models say, especially if the high pressure up here tries to link itself together, and then that ends up being a low completely surrounded by high pressure, and that's not usually much of a rainmaker. But this is one just to keep an eye on. The current modelling suggests there could be some wet weather, and you can fine-tune that further, obviously, at Rural Weather and weatherwatch.co.nz. That is all from me. Oh, one more thing before I go. Wait a minute, I do have one more thing to show you. I've got a couple of rain maps. The 3-day rain map for New Zealand just shows you basically what I've just said, that the bulk of the heavy rain on the west coast, the blue and the pinks, it's around about 50 to 125 millimetres, the 125s in the blue, and most of the North Island, with the exception of Taranaki, you're only in that sort of 5 to 15 millimetre mark. So that's the next 3 days ahead. And Australia, haven't forgotten you as well. Look at that, dry, no rain falling into those areas. Actually, I should have stayed over there because that's where the key is. But as you can see, mostly dry, just those showers down there with that southwesterly change. Now that is all from me, and we'll see you again tomorrow Friday with our final update for the week.